Hi, in this video we're going to talk about two different things. The first is going to be our recipe for espresso. So every cafe has their own recipe and the way they do their espresso. So today I'll go over what our recipe is. The second part is the steps of pulling a shot of espresso, extracting the espresso, and we'll go through those steps. So last video I talked about what kind of roast we use. We use a light roast here at Henderson's Cafe. Now we're going to talk about the recipe. So our recipe is 18 grams of coffee going into the basket. It's going to be 35 seconds brew that when you start to extract. And it's gonna be 16 grams out. How much the coffee is gonna weigh after we pull it. I'm gonna pull a shot of espresso with measuring the coffee coming into the basket, the time it takes to brew, and measure the coffee coming out. I wanna tear my portafilter, that way it's at 0. $18 grams. Now I'm going to tear my shot glass. "35 seconds. 60 grams. So that is our recipe. 18 grams of coffee going in the basket, 35 seconds brew-in time, and 80 grams that comes out. 60 grams that come out. I misspoke. Now we're gonna go into the steps of pulling a shot of espresso. But before I go into that, let me point out two important things. First, it's very important to just grind the right amount of coffee for every single shot. We want every shot to be fresh. You could always keep an eye on what's going in there. And the other important thing I would like to address is how important it is to follow these steps. There's 12 steps until you go and serve the espresso to someone. Don't take any steps away, don't add any steps. Hey, what's up? So we're gonna talk about the steps. First step is taking out your portafilter. Second step is to dry your portafilter. We dry the portafilter for two reasons. One is to get any old coffee that's in there out, and the main reason is to get rid of the humidity, because the humidity could affect the shot of espresso. The next thing we'll do is turn on the grinder. And then while the grinder's going, you could dose. Once again, you could look in there. Dose, you'll use the lever. And turning off the grinders in the next step. It's important, how I said previously, to just grind the the right amount of coffee for every shot, which is 18 grams. So every shot is as fresh as it can be. Then after that, we're gonna settle. The settle is gonna be 2 gentle taps. 1, 2. Gentle is like that. If you go, that's too hard. If you just barely tap it, that's too soft. So just a very gentle 1, 2. The next thing is going to be distributing the coffee. So we'll make sure that there's coffee in all the areas in the basket. And then we're just going to sweep it off. We got to make sure we don't tap it. We got to make sure that we don't make a hole in there. We're just distributing the coffee. We're kind of just sweeping it back and forth. After we sweep and get the top off, we'll go over here and we're gonna tamp the espresso. So think about this as you're opening a door or you're holding a gun. That's kind of the way you want to hold the tamper. And another important thing while you're tamping, make sure the power comes from your shoulder, not your forearm or your wrist, because you're gonna injure your wrist. Remember, safety first. The movement is a nice long stretch, and you tamp. The pressure comes from the shoulder. If you're gonna be doing this like 50 times in your shift, you don't want to be doing this. After you tamp the espresso, you want to purge the group head. That does 2 things. One, it gets any old coffee in there out, and it also warms up the group head. That way when you pull the shot of espresso, it's hot. And then you want to insert the per filter. It goes in an angle like this. Remember to look down there and get familiar. Down there, up there, whatever way you want to see it. And get familiar with that. You want to make sure you insert gentle until it locks. If you are bumping it, trying to figure it out, that tamp that you just did now is not going to be as packed, and it's going to affect your espresso shot. And then the next thing is to extract. So pull the shot. Once again, our recipe is 18 grams in, 35 seconds long, 16 grams out. Then you want to stop the shot. Remember, this is a semi-automatic machine. We start the shot, we stop the shot. And after we stop the shot, we're ready to serve. Now I am actually going to go and do the shot. Follow me. Take out your portafilter. You want to dry your basket. You want to turn on your grinder. While your grinder's going, you can start dosing. Two gentle taps. 1, 2. We're going to distribute the coffee. So there's some little holes on the side. I want to get those. I got those. Just sweep the access to the knockbox. And then we're going to tamp. Make sure it comes from your shoulder. 18 grams. You see a little bit of coffee on top. It doesn't hurt to clean the top. And then we're going to perch, clean the group head, and warm up the group head. And then we're going to insert. Once again, when we insert, be gentle. Get familiar with the group head and where it goes in on an angle. And it locks. And as soon as you put the portafilter in the group head, you want to brew that coffee. If you let it sit there, it's gonna burn the coffee. The coffee could go old. You could forget about it. So you want to make sure you brew it as soon as you insert. So get comfortable with those steps. Make sure that you get those down before you go on to trying to be super fast at it. That quickness will come with experience, um, but but it's important to get yourself into those steps and to those habits. That way, it's second nature, and then you don't have to think about it. You just do it. So I'm gonna pull another shot. Now I'm gonna go at the speed I would normally go. This video is longer than the other two, and there's a lot of information, but don't feel intimidated. All of this, the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get, the quicker you'll move. Um, Pulling a shot of espresso is actually one of the funnest things to do here at the cafe. But if there's anything that you have questions or you don't feel comfortable with, and you want to work on, just ask, and one of us will work with you.